have been an energy healing practitioner for like how many years was it? I think 10 years before I started researching on the moon or getting into the moon. And does anybody know the Japanese healing art Jinshin Jitsu? It's an energy healing art. You know Jinshin Jitsu? Okay, so Jinshin Jitsu is an ancient, very ancient energy healing art with roots in Tibet. It is very similar to Taoism, and it is more similar to Chinese medicine with the meridians and the organ flows, as we call it in Jinshin Jitsu, than Reiki. The only same thing about Reiki is that we use our hands to place on different energy locks on the body. So that's because people always ask me immediately, so is it like Reiki? The only thing that is like Reiki is that we use our hands, and we use our hands to tune ourselves into the moon, as I describe in my book. But it is about the meridians and the organ flows, about which we're going to talk in a minute. So I have been practicing this healing art both as a practitioner and on myself, obviously, for quite a few years. And I was getting results, but I was still always not that 100%. I was going through a time of great stress in my life, as most of us at some point in our lives do. And I was basically searching for the key to total health. That was what I was looking for. And I went to Hawaii at that time, to Maui, for a year with my little daughter, who's not so little anymore, she's here now, and to study the ancient kahunas, that are the wise men of Hawaii, and to get into their healing wisdom as well. And I had to do a massage school to get the visa, so that's how I got there. But at the time I was so weak. When I did the massage school, I couldn't actually even massage people because for my body I was just too weak. So I did all the lessons, not the practical part, and we had to massage people in the clinic as part of our course. So in order to not to have to spend too much time massaging the people because it was just too stressful on my body, I was feeling pulses for a long time. We do the pulse reading in Jinshin Jitsu just like they do in Ayurveda. So pulse reading, basically, if you listen to the pulses, you can hear the energy in your body. It is amazing what you can hear. You can hear everything. There are only probably about 3 or 4 pulse readers in the world that are really so good, but they can even say the exact date of death, for example. They can say if there's someone in the family or around you who has negative thoughts against you, or if a woman is expecting a girl or boy, things like that. So you can hear everything in the pulses. So I was doing a lot of pulse reading when I had my clients there, because it didn't take me much strength to do that. And I discovered something very interesting, because I was hearing so intensively, like you never usually do. At the time, I was already using a moon chart, like calendar, like for the usual, like they do in Germany. It's very popular. The moon has been very popular for a long time, for gardening and these things, the moon cycles. And it was actually my little daughter, because, it probably has happened to you as well before in your life, that you meet a person and they say something and it's right what you need to hear at that time. It's the collective soul that forms a unity, and it's basically your soul triggering that person to say something. And it was my little daughter, who was 7 years old at the time. And one morning she said to me, "Mom, so why don't you use the Jinshin Jitsu in tune with the moon?" And it was amazing, because it was just after the day that I had actually noticed in the pulses that all the pulses, regardless of the person's state of health, regardless of whether they are very healthy or very sick, whether they have cancer or chemotherapy, they always strive towards the vibration of the moon, the current vibration of the moon, which is always changing, of course. We're going to hear about that in a second. So the pulses, the human pulses, always strive to be in harmony with the moon. When I noticed that, it was amazing, because I knew at that moment, wow, this is the key to total health I have been looking for. So basically all we need to do, and I knew it at that moment, was to daily tune into the vibration of the moon, and that will heal anybody, regardless of their state of emotional, mind or body. I knew it, and I started right away there. I still remember the date. It was the 15th of September, because it was my daughter's birthday. It was a full moon, 2007 or 8. 2008, because it was your 8th birthday. That's when, because I started like tuning in, but not on a daily basis. But on that day, I said to myself, I'm going to do it daily. And from that day on, I've been doing it daily. And I saw results immediately. Like after the first 3 weeks, already my body was starting to change for the better, which I have to say, for the better, it needs transformation. So if your body heals, it is like peeling an onion. There are layers that want to be transformed, that will need to be transformed, and it started immediately. So I couldn't believe the changes that were happening to my body. I continued to do so, and simultaneously immediately started to write the book in German. The original version is in German. In German it's called The Moon and the Cosmic Code of Creation. I will tell you later why. So I wrote for about, and tuned myself in for about 3 years, and 3 is actually a very important number. And I knew, so we need to tune ourselves into the moon and we will heal. Great. But I didn't understand why. And I knew if I want to write a book, I need to understand why. Because that's what it's all about, isn't it? So then something very strange happened. I had a near-death experience after some experiences. And I felt with my book, I was at a point I wasn't getting anywhere, because I had written down, in theory, everything what you need to do, but it was just something was missing. And after that near-death experience, it was 3 days afterwards, I sat down and they dictated me the first chapter, and afterwards following the other continuing chapters. And I didn't initially quite understand what I was writing, but when I had finished the first part, it suddenly, boom, everything made sense, and it was amazing. So the moon, I mean, you said something now about the moon, what the moon is for you. When I ask people generally, what is the moon for you? Everybody says the moon has a great influence. Yes, the moon has a great influence. It makes the tides and on nature and everything, and it influences my mood. It's always the word influence. It influences my mood. It influences the way I sleep when there's a full moon, for example, or new moons. But in truth, it is actually much more. In fact, it is not even really 100% true that the moon influences us, because the moon is the cosmic principle of creation. So it is so much more. So what does that mean? First of all, what does it mean to tune yourself into the moon? So the moon, most people know about the moon phases. The moon is waxing and waning. This is actually not that important for that book, because I write about the different, like the moon every month travels through the zodiac, through the 12 gates of cosmic gates, as I call them, which would be the cosmic soul gates on your body, because we are cosmos. Cosmos means order, and we are exactly the same order as the big universal cosmos. We are a small cosmos, basically, which is what we're going to learn in that book. So the moon for the soul is what the soul is for you. That sentence may sound weird at the beginning. That's what I was given during that near-death experience, and I didn't understand it at the time, but this is what it is all about. What you would do today is to activate your umbilicus function energy, which is the triple warmer in Chinese medicine, because that will be today's key organ flow, which is a very important organ flow, the umbilicus function energy. So in order to activate that, it's very simple as well. You see, and I show, at the beginning of the chapter, I show the gate we're opening, so it would be the root chakra we're opening today. So you see all the levels are combined. It's also about the chakras, because it's all one in the end. The different element system, our element system, and the Far East element system, you have to look at it as one. because they are not two different things. In fact, to understand the cosmic code of creation, you need to see it as one. And by opening these gates, you merge them together. And only like this you can understand the cosmic code of creation and yourself, because you are the cosmic code of creation. So this is the gate we're opening today by tuning into the moon, the root chakra, which also means... No, it's the root. It's the root. But it also has a connection to the sacral. I write about it, and because it would be the color orange. I write about the musical keys as well. So today's musical key would be G major, which if you could see it as a color would be orange. And that's the color of the sacral chakra. You see, it's all these different things that come into consideration, because vibration is everything. It's color, it's music. It's my initial background, by the way, is musician. I was a violinist, so I've got that background as well, which then I understood why I had to do that. So on these days, people sometimes may feel randier than on others. Yeah, it's because we're opening this chakra here. So it's interesting, because it's also about having different tastes on the different moon dates, because the moon makes you want different foods on specific dates. I write about that as well. On some days you may crave sweets. It's so funny, because when I go out with people who don't know anything about the moon, and I know they don't usually eat sweets, and we are in that yellow level, which is the element earth here, which has the taste sweet, and they go out and suddenly they say, I'd like a cake today. And I said, yes, you need your cake today. Because if we have a craving for something, it shows us that our body needs that to harmonize. So by adding a little bit of sweetness on that day, for example, when we are in the yellow part, we aid our body in being in tune as well. Obviously not too much, and it should be healthy sweets, obviously, like I write about the foods as well anyway. So I show all the meridians as well, or organ flows, how they flow, and that is very interesting. The reason why I took so much time and effort to have the exact flow paths is because you may experience weird symptoms, as you said, on different days of the moon cycle of the month, which, each month is a moon cycle. Some people suddenly have a headache, terrible headaches on certain days. So by then going to the sign where we are, for example, a typical headache sign is Aquarius, which is gallbladder. So what does gallbladder have to do with the head? You will find out by looking at the organ flow. It goes right through the head. So when the moon is in Aquarius, people tend to have more strokes as well. My poor mother had a stroke, and when she had her stroke, I was talking to the doctors a lot as well, and when we had the full moon in Aquarius, they didn't have one single bed left. And I knew exactly after 2 weeks, it would be empty again, and it was. So if doctors used that as well, this wisdom, it would make a huge change. Because you wouldn't have an operation, by the way, on the day when the moon is in Aquarius, because you would go right into the organ function that is your energizer on that day. So you have much bigger impact on your whole body. But anyway, you understand then why you get headaches at certain days, because the energy may get stuck here in the head rather than moving down. It is very important. We always have the ascending or descending. So the energy is always about ascending and descending, and ideally you would activate always the organ function where the moon is, which today would be the umbilicus function energy. I'll just show you how to do that. I've been wanting to show that all the time.
For the gallbladder, how would you, for the headaches, what would you do?
The easy way is, again, the finger, which would be middle finger. Amazing. The middle finger is like a general harmonizer because it's right in the middle. It harmonizes all the elements. So if you're really poorly, you wouldn't even want to do the first step to activate gallbladder. It's as simple as that, by the way. It's placing your hands on the energy locks, which I show, also with a photograph, so it's very easy. You see, I've got a photograph for each activation sequence. And, of course, I write about the energy locks. You've got the the energy locks in here as well, which you hold. Where do we have them? These are the energy locks we use. Each of them have a number and they have a meaning as well, but I don't really go that much into that because it would have been too much for that book.
So, but can somebody, a healer, hold it for you, those energy points, or would you
They
have to do
can.
it?
No, someone can do it for you as well.
All right.
If you're really poorly, I know
Yeah.
it would be better. I saved my mother's life once when she had a heart condition, and me and my daughter, we both held her little finger, which is the heart energizing finger. It saved her life. That's what the doctor said as well. So holding your little finger may sound easy, but if you're really, really poorly, you don't even want to hold a finger. So of course you can do that. It's great. By the way, that's why the kids suck their thumb, because, oh yeah, that's something important I wanted to say as well. Each of these steps harmonizes a certain emotion. That's where the word emotion comes in with the moon, because the depth are the level of emotion. So the difference between these depth and the actual organ level is different levels of vibration. That's the emotion level, and the organs obviously are the body level, where you will experience body symptoms. All body symptoms have their source on the emotional level, always. So each disease actually starts on the level of emotion, and we actually cover both aspects with this book. So when the moon moves through these different levels of vibrations, people experience different emotions. When the moon is in this green part, it's not a great day for, well, it's when people like to freak, because it's gallbladder and liver energy. It's hate when it's in disharmony. So each of these levels has a state of disharmony or harmony. So the green level, if you're in tune, you are incredibly creative, because this is the creative part. We are now in February, March. So we are from the sun point in that level, which is an amazing force you see in nature as well. When everything comes up, when flowers start to bloom, this amazing creative force. If you are in tune, you can use that for your creative energy. But if you don't use it for your creative energy, it will come out as hate or jealousy or just quarreling. Terrible. So when the moon is in gallbladder or in Pisces, don't have important meetings. Or ask your colleagues to hold their middle finger before you start. I know of companies who do that nowadays. They do that even in kindergartens in Germany and in schools. They start their day doing that, and it changes everything. The whole level of perception and how you treat others and how you treat yourself changes by doing this.
Can I just ask you something? Like, we're all different people with different minds, different bodies, different
Yes.
personalities and characters. Like, for some people, acupuncture works. For some people, it doesn't. But this sort of thing, I think you have to be super sensitive to everything. So I'm wondering, will it work on everybody? You have to have a really strong belief for it to work.
No, the great thing is you don't have to believe in it.
You know, like anything to work, any kind of, treatment, I believe you have to have complete faith in it. If I just do it without faith, I don't think it's going to work on me.
You don't actually have to have the faith, because it works on animals as well, and the animal wouldn't understand. I mean,
like for me, acupuncture doesn't work. So Reiki doesn't work on me. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering whether this will work on me.
it works on everybody, but some people may not experience the effects that much initially. Like, one of the questions I regularly get asked is, when I put my fingers on my, when I touch my energy locks, you usually sense a pulse. Some people, they write me and they ask, if I don't sense that pulse, does it mean it's not working? No, it isn't, because it's working internally. It's your body's wisdom that will always simply, but you should stay on them, like for at least 5 minutes, and breathe regularly. Breathe, in a how do you say, good rhythm. Exhale and inhale, and try. Oh, that's another thing. The mind. I wanted to say what is very important. Just that. Can I just say, very important? Love your organs. While you activate your organs, communicate with your organs and thank them. Like, for your example, your spleen. Imagine it in that light. These are, by the way, that's the other thing, the energizing colors. So these colors, if you imagine, you should imagine your organ in that color, in the color I give here, in this beautiful radiant light, and that will help from the mind level. So if you activate your spleen, imagine it in yellow. Yes. It's actually looking at it, I mean, because people ask me, so what is more important, the sun or the moon? Well, both obviously are important, because the moon wouldn't be there without the sun. The sun is source. But the sun on its own wouldn't be able to do anything, because it needs the moon as the mediator between spirit and body. The earth is what the body is to us. So we need the moon we need the soul. Our body wouldn't exist without the soul. First is spirit and soul, then is body. That is also a mistake many people do. They think, oh, I've got a body, and then the soul comes. No, the body gets created by the soul and by spirit. We wouldn't have a body without it, you know. And this is the whole thing. We need to raise our viewpoint from that level of within the box to the level of spirit and look at it from above. And then we realize I am continuously recreating my body, my health, my reality, because this is not just about health. It is about our reality, to have your reality in your hands and recreate it by being in tune with that cosmic principle of creation, what the moon is. So you see, the moon is much more than just a magical thing that influences you. It is your gate to yourself. So yeah, that was quite amazing to realize. So basically, these 12 keys are the 12 organ flows. Very simple. And you even find that in the Bible everywhere. If you look at the Bible, what is the Bible? I mean, you've got the Trinity of Father, Son, and Father, Son, and how do they say it?
Holy Spirit.
Exactly. And you've got the 12 apostles. So what are the 12 apostles? If you look it up, what does apostle actually mean? It is something that takes it out into the world, which is exactly what our organs do. We have 12 organs. The Bible is the symbolism of our body. It is ourselves. We are that. We are the life flow, which would be Jesus. And we at the same time, though, are also, yes, the God level. We are spirit. So we have it all in our hands, which may for some people initially sound scary, but it is not. It's what we are here to realize, actually, because this is why we are alive. We are alive to become conscious of ourselves, and the moon enables us to become conscious of ourselves. So the moon is so much more than what most people initially think, and what actually most moon books, or I don't know any other moon book that gives all this information. And in fact, some of you may have heard of Omar Mikhail Ivanov of the White Brotherhood. Yes, he said about 70 years ago, which was quite interesting, that the time was not right then for humanity to know the truth about the moon, and it would take like another 50 or 60 years for this wisdom to appear. And yes, so it was exactly in 2012, by the way, that I finished the book. And in 2013 it was published. In 2012 was like a major step also in consciousness, in raising consciousness. We have these. Consciousness is being raised at a much higher rate at the moment. And we ourselves, by the way, I mean this, what is this consciousness? This consciousness is us, I mean everybody, each soul, becoming conscious of itself, of herself, enables the collective soul to raise their vibration. So the collective soul raises the awareness and the consciousness by each one of us. So the more people become conscious of themselves, which is what this is really about, the vibration will be raised until we arrive at the state of, what it says in the Bible, the Holy Jerusalem, which is nothing else than the state of complete consciousness. So you see, it is much more about healing symptoms. or relieving symptoms. It is about becoming conscious of ourselves. And yes, this is about healing as well, because healing is not just being free of symptoms. Healing is being conscious. And it is understanding why at different moon phases we feel different things, which is not because the moon is doing something to you, but it is because your organ at that time, for example today, the moon is in Capricorn. So Capricorn, so this is another picture actually of this. Because each month the moon, going through the 12 signs, unfolds the 5-petaled star. See, I'm wearing it as well, which is the cosmic principle of creation, the 5-pointed star. You find it everywhere in nature. Go around nature and look at the flowers, and you will see most flowers have 5 flower petals. It is the sign of man. It is Pythagoras used that, and it was his sign of consciousness, and it was actually forbidden. People were killed if they told others who were not that on that high level about the 5-pointed star, because it contains everything if you understand the 5-pointed star. And as most people probably know, the 5-pointed star unfortunately was used in a very bad way as well. People regard it as like a sign of magic, and this is not about magic, because magic means going against nature. Magic means influencing nature to do what you want, but from an ego point of view. Whereas this is becoming in tune, becoming one with this vibration, and then realizing your potential. So you can realize your individual potential. Yes, you can realize your individual potential by being in tune. And in fact, it's the only way to realize it, because you are in tune with your own soul. And this is what it's all about. It's about getting away from the ego point of view and to your true self. Yeah, so the healing comes about tuning into the moon. So how do you do that? Very simple. The simplest way is holding specific fingers, because each of these levels is actually harmonized. Very simple, every kid can do it, by holding a specific finger. Today the moon is in Capricorn, so that will be this level. And you see the different chapters are actually, different chapters actually have these colors. So you can actually go exactly to the chapter, like today the moon will be in Capricorn, so you go to the chapter with that color. Here, that's the chapter, and it shows where we are at the moment, and it shows how to harmonize or tune. No, that's the other red. We've got 2 reds. Sorry, I got the wrong red. How to tune yourself into that vibration. So the easiest way is, we've got 2 things that we do. We tune ourselves into the whole level of vibration, which would be this level. In each level, we've got 6 levels, as you see, 6 steps. And out of each level of vibration arise 2 cosmic forces. So to tune yourself into that level is a specific finger. Today will be the palm of the hand. So it will be as simple as holding the palm of your hand for, let's say, 5 minutes. You can do it longer as well, ideally for 20 minutes. Try and do it for 20 minutes sometimes. It's amazing. It's like your gate on that day to source. It will completely fill you up with energy, regardless of what your symptom that day may be. You may, for example, today have a stomach ache and think, oh my God, should I activate the stomach flow? But my suggestion always is, no, go to the moon sign first, because that's the gate that will energize all the other organ flows. So today it will be holding the palm of your hand. You can even do it at the same time, or even like a prayer position. So that will be to tune into the whole level of vibration. You can look on my webpage. I show it each day. My webpage is irenelauretti.com at the bottom each day, and I even show how to tune in and give the page of the book. Yeah, in Germany I've got a moon agenda. and that people can buy. It's not yet out in English, but of course it's a bit difficult for the English-speaking market because I would need to do it for each, like for the States, it would be completely different then. So on a website, it's easier. So you've got it there on my webpage, but you can find it anywhere on the internet. Even if you don't want to go to my webpage, you can just put in moon forecast, and it would tell you today the moon is in Capricorn, and then you go to the Capricorn chapter. So that is something really easy to find out anywhere. Would not be here in our bodies on this earth without the moon. The earth would not actually even exist without the moon. So what is the moon? In order to understand the moon, because obviously the big picture you're going to get in the book, I won't be able to tell you everything now. So in order to understand the moon, you have to look at it from above. It's really this getting your viewpoint out of the box. Instead of the inside of the box thinking, you have to look from above down on cosmos to be able to understand it. So we have the trinity of sun, moon, earth. The moon mediates between the sun and the earth. You are exactly the same trinity. You are spirit, soul, body. You create your body continuously out of spirit, which is your source. Spirit is above time. So basically, spirit is eternal. You will always be in your spirit. And spirit is unity. In our spirit, we are all one, which is why this is the famous Akashic, for example. Has anybody heard about the Akashic? Akasha? Exactly. So that's really what it is about. And that's why then I understood why this healing art, Jin-Shin-Jitsu, which Jin-Shin-Jitsu, that's when because this enabled me to understand it. In Jin-Shin-Jitsu, we view the universe in different layers, which we call depth of vibration. So basically, the universe is formed out of 9 depths. Number 9 would be the nothing. 8 would be where the movement comes in, like the Big Bang. And 7 is the source. That's this beautiful golden light, which you also see in medieval, in churches, the golden light, the aura. It's spirit. This is spirit. And that's the level of the sun. So the level of the sun is all the potential. It is that light that you continuously are, and out of which you create your body, because you continuously recreate your body, which is amazing and great to know, because it means you can always heal. You will always be able to heal everything, regardless of what any doctors say. And I'm saying this because it's the truth, because you are this source yourself. If you identify with this source, because if you identify with your body, and that's the whole point, you identify with the lower part of the soul. Basically is this eternal side, and if you identify with the light, or you identify with your body, which is the ego. So basically, most people identify with their body. I mean, nowadays, if you go on Instagram and all these social networks, everybody identifies with their body. We live in a time where we identify with the material world. If you identify with your light, with the light which you are, you can continuously recreate your body, which is what we can do with the moon, because that's what the moon does. So basically, the moon is like a gate between heaven and earth. So I've got these graphics in here, just to show you this one. So this will be the zodiac. Okay, this is the zodiac. That's the zodiac. And you see this golden light around the zodiac. This golden light would be the 7th depth. That's the level of the sun. This is where we have unity. It is above time and space. This is the level of your spirit, which you always are. You are that level. So your soul now wants to become conscious of this potential, because it is a strange thing, but we only realize our potential by having, by being like in a body in a prison. It is like that. You only realize how wonderful life is once you had some problems. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Or once you start feeling sick, then you realize, oh my God, I've always been well. Unfortunately, this is how it is. So basically, spirit, the soul, spirit like will be this big flame or this big fire, and the soul is like a flame of this fire, wanting to become conscious of herself. So in order to become conscious, she needs to go. She needs to create her body. So let me just show you that. So this cosmos, this zodiac, what we have here is this cosmic egg. You see, it even has the shape of an egg. And so this is 7th depth. It's the level of the sun. And now the moon comes in, and the moon is the governor, rules the 6th depth, which is the cosmic egg of creation, which includes in itself all the other levels of vibration. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the different levels of vibration, the different depths, as we call them, and the different colors, as we will see, are the different elements, because that's the different elements. That's actually the 5 element system of Chinese medicine, or Far East Asian medicine. So that's water, for example, the blue one. This would be quintessence, that would be air or metal, and that's earth. So you see the different star signs, which of course we have different elements, but we combine these elements to see this cosmic code of creation. So we are the zodiac ourselves, with this most important energy flow of the body, which I call the life flow. It's called the microcosmic orbit in Taoism. Anybody knows this flow? It flows up the spine and down the front of the body. This is your soul. This energy flow is your soul. And this energy flow determines your state of health. This determines how you perceive reality and how you will create reality. The word reality, by the way, comes from the Greek goddess Rhea. And Rhea means translated life flow. So it is interesting if you read these ancient texts and also the Bible and everything, because they contain all this wisdom in symbols. So Rhea is the life flow. It is this, and Rhea was married to Kronos, who was the god of time. And you see, this is where time starts. This is where the level of manifestation, body, earth starts. And they had how many children? It's not difficult. How many children did they have? 12. Of course, we've got 12 signs. 12 is the number in the watch. We've got 12 star signs. These are the star signs. These are the 12 gates. Soul gates. I call them soul gates because we have exactly the same gates like we have here on the zodiac, on our life flow. And these gates are our soul gates, through which we mediate between spirit and body. This is how we create our body each month, again, through these gates. And these gates have keys. And what are the keys? And this is what this book is about the keys and the gates, because we need to open these gates in order to be healthy and in order to consciously create our reality. Because this is why the word reality comes from Rhea, because it is about consciously creating our reality. It is not about, for example, also the word destiny. And for that, by the way, I understood why I had to write the original book in German, because German may not be such a nice language if you listen to it, but it is very logical. And then I understood, oh, that's why I had to grow up in German, because it made me understand these things. It was amazing, because the word, what did I want to say now? The keys. Yeah, no, anyway, I'll get to that again later. But anyway, the word organ comes from the Latin word organon, which means key of the soul. So they knew it as well. So you can trace back these things going back to the Germanic roots or the Latin words. And it's very interesting. So we create our reality, our body, each month again through the 12 gates on our life flow. And by opening these gates in tune with the moon, because the moon is the cosmic principle of creation governing this egg, which is why it is all about being in tune with the moon. That's why it is about being in tune, because the moon governs this sixth step, which includes all the other levels of vibration. So that's why we need to be in tune with the moon and not the sun. But
So, thank you very much.